Good morning, church family. I'm Julie Powell. In October of 1988, Chet was 2.5 and I was 7 months pregnant, singing in a gospel trio at the time with my sister Leah and Rick Randalls. We were getting ready to do a concert at North Vermillion High School, but I had also at that time come down with a terrible cold. So I couldn't take cold medicine being pregnant, so I just relied on prayer. And I kept praying and praying, and I was getting worse and worse. When it came time for the concert, I had no voice at all. And I was praying every day for a healing. Well, I remember standing backstage. I was standing in front of a mirror, and I was angry. And I told God, I'm doing this for you. Why won't you do this for me? Answer this one prayer. Well, it didn't happen at that point. Voices started in my head, and they were saying, God's not real. Why do you believe? Why do you believe in God? Why do you believe in prayer? Just a few weeks later, and I wasn't any better. So that was when the pain started in my right side. So I went to the doctor the next day, and he said I was having signs of toxemia, which is a condition you only have if you're pregnant. And the next week I was admitted into the hospital. But I couldn't sleep there. So I begged the doctor to let me go home. The doctor did let me go home. Well, a few days after getting to my parents, I vividly remember that whole night. In the middle of the night, I was laying there trying to pray, and the voices were getting louder and louder in my head. He's not real. He's not answering. He's not going to answer. And they were drowning out my prayers. And then it was like time stopped. I could feel my body swelling up, and I knew that wasn't good. That's when a song that the trio was in started in my head. The words were, gentle hands holding on to me, gentle hands guiding me so carefully that they lead me down through paths I don't always understand. I will never fear, for I'm in gentle hands. And it was at that point that I felt the presence of God in that room. I felt being held in these strong, powerful hands, and the beautiful peace that came over me, I will never forget. We got to the Danville Hospital. They put me in an ambulance with a nurse and sent me on to Champaign. They tried to induce labor while I was in Champaign, but nothing would happen. I was just swelling up all over. I had an emergency C-section, gave birth to a healthy 3-pound, 10-ounce baby girl. I was taken to intensive care, and Chelsea was taken to the neonatal intensive care unit. A few days after being moved into a regular room, I remember opening my eyes, and there was a nurse standing at the foot of my bed just looking at me. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I just had to come see you." She said, "I was with you right after your delivery, and everything was shutting down. But then, all of a sudden, it's like somebody flipped the switch and everything started working." Well, I know who flipped that switch. 2 weeks after that, on Thanksgiving Day, we brought Chelsea home weighing 3 pounds, 14 ounces. And a couple weeks after that, I was back on stage doing a concert. I was able to give this testimony that God gave me to a packed gymnasium. And I held Chelsea in my arms, always saying, gentle hands. This time there was no doubt. There were no voices in my head. They had been replaced with an intense faith and trust. I thanked God for not answering my first prayers for healing, because if He had, I wouldn't have gone through this and felt my faith build without a shadow of a doubt. And I had to walk that path to truly find Him. And I never doubted Him or doubted the power of prayer again. My advice is believe in Him and believe He's listening to your prayers. He may not answer them the way you think that they should be answered, but He has a plan.